So now let us proceed the same topic, that moment of inertia, in this lecture also. So far we have completed the concept of moment of inertia and derived some formula for the moment of inertia of some symmetric body, and we have taken that some of those symmetric bodies as just a spherical ring, circular ring, and that disc, and also that sphere, that hollow sphere, as well as the solid sphere, and that rod of length L, and we have calculated the moment of inertia. But in all these cases, we have taken that axis from the center of mass, and we have different formula. But what will happen if we change the position of this axis? Because that moment of inertia mr square, this is this I is equivalent to mr square. This depends on the mass as well as that radius of that symmetric body, or the distance of that mass from the axis. So if we change the position of this axis, then what will be the value of moment of inertia of that body? For example, in place of this axis from the center, if we take this axis here, and this particular ring is rotating around this axis, or if we take that axis along the diameter of this ring, so if this is the axis and this is rotating just around that diameter, or if this is like this and it is rotating like this, means if we can have different position of axis, and we need to calculate that moment of inertia around that axis. Then we use some theorems related to moment of inertia, and we have two theorems related to moment of inertia. So the theorems related to moment of inertia. One is perpendicular axis theorem, and second one is the parallel axis theorem. So we have two theorems in this topic of moment of inertia, and these theorems are used to calculate the moment of inertia about that axis away from that center of mass. So we'll start from the first theorem, that is the perpendicular axis theorem. So first is perpendicular axis theorem. Perpendicular axis theorem. So this theorem is for a flat or laminar type structure. Means if we have a plate, circular disc, the planar structure, just there is no thickness or negligible thickness, then we use this theorem. So this is for a planar structured material, structured body with planar structured body with very negligible thickness. So if it is laminar or planar structured body whose thickness is very less or negligible, then we use this perpendicular axis theorem. So let us have, this is that body and the thickness is negligible, this is just a planar, and we have three axes. let's say this is x, this is y, and this is z. This is origin O. And moment of inertia means this body can move around this x-axis also. This body can move around y-axis. We can move this, rotate this body around y-axis, as well as we can rotate this body along x-axis. Means moment of inertia can be calculated along x-axis as Ix, along y-axis as Iy, along z-axis as Iz, and along y-axis this is Iy. And according to this theorem, this Iz, which is perpendicular, which is normal to or perpendicular to this surface, this is the surface, x-axis and y-axis, this is on the plane, toward the plane, and this z-axis, this is perpendicular to this surface. So this Iz, which is the moment of inertia of that body, along that body, where this z is perpendicular to that, and this is equal to Ix plus Iy. This is the theorem. Remember this? This is on the plane. This is on the plane where x and y axis are on the plane, and z axis is normal to plane. And the derivation is very simple. Let's say if this is that one particle of mass m, and let's join this. So this is x, means this will be x. This is x, means this will be x, and this is y, so this will be y, and this will be, let's say, this is now z. Okay, so this is y, this is x. Yes, one can say this is x. So one can use, remember this is normal, perpendicular. So one can use the Pythagoras theorem. So by using Pythagoras theorem, what we will have this z square. This is equivalent to x square plus y square. Okay, are you getting? This is y, this will be x parallel to this. So this is our right angle triangle, and we can use Pythagoras theorem. So this z square is equivalent to x square plus y square. If you multiply both sides by m, so one can have this mz square. This is equivalent to mx square plus my square. And this mz square, this is nothing but Iz, the moment of inertia around the axis z. This is equivalent to Ix plus Iy. So the derivation of this theorem, this is very simple. Now, second is the parallel axis theorem. So remember this axis theorem, this perpendicular axis theorem is used only in laminar or planar structured body having very small thickness. Now perpendicular axis theorem, parallel axis theorem. This is used for all shape, all bodies of shape and size. So all type of bodies we can use. We can use this theorem for all type of bodies. So according to this, if this is that body and this is center of mass, and this axis is passing through this center of mass, so the moment of inertia will be ICM. There is that body, this is center of mass, and one axis, this is passing through this center of mass, and one can calculate this ICM, this is the moment of inertia around the center of mass. And we have another axis parallel to this. So let's say this is AB and this is CD. Both are parallel. And the distance between these two, let's say this is D. Then according to this theorem, the moment of inertia around this CD, around the axis CD, means it is other than axis passing through center of mass, passing through center of mass. So remember this CD, this the second axis which is parallel to this is other than, means away from this center of mass, and the distance of these two axes, parallel axes, are d. Then according to this, the moment of inertia around the CD, that is equivalent to ICD, it is equal to ICM, means moment of inertia around the center of mass, axis around the center of mass, plus if the mass of this body is m, then this is m multiplied by the square of this d square. Okay, so this is ICD, this is this axis, and it is equivalent to ICM, this is the center of, this is moment of inertia around the axis passing through the center of mass, plus m is the mass of this complete body, multiplied by this d, where this d is, where d is the distance between two parallel axes, axis AB and CD. Its derivation is also simple. So let us have one point somewhere here at the distance of x from this center of mass. Let's say one small particle. Okay, so this is that small particle under consideration. This is small m, capital M is the mass of the complete body. X is the distance of this body from this center of mass. Okay, so from the definition of center of that moment of inertia, one can have this moment of inertia around the axis CD, it is ICD, it is equal to, calculation is for this is equivalent to mass multiplied by total distance will be x plus d square. Okay, we are taking this axis, this distance is this, and this distance is x. So the total distance is x plus d, and one can expand this. M is equal to, this is x square plus d square plus 2xm, 2xd. So if we generalize this for all particles of this body, these particles may be somewhere here, somewhere here, somewhere here, then the total sum will be that this ICD, total sum will be the summation of m x square plus d square plus 2xd for n-body system. So when we generalize for all this, for the complete body, then this is the relation. And one can write this is equal to summation of mx square plus summation of md square plus summation of 2xmd. Okay, and this is equal to the summation of m, x is fixed. So summation of m is that complete m. So this is mx square plus this is m complete md square, and here this is 2d, d is fixed, but this x is variable, and this is summation of mx. X is variable, that may be positive, negative somewhere, and this value, this is actually equal to 0 because this x may be positive, negative, so the total sum of this multiplication mx, this is 0. So this is equal to now ICD, it is equal to this mx, this is ICM, center of mass, this center of mass. So this mx is equal to ICM plus md square, and this is that here. So one can write the reason of this why this summation of this mx is equal to 0, because body is symmetric or in balance, on center of mass. So there is no moment, so mx, there is no torque, so mx is sum of this mx is equal to 0. Okay, so this is the derivation of parallel axis theorem for a moment of inertia. Now we will apply both theorems to calculate the moment of inertia for different symmetric body or a symmetric body around the axis away from the center of mass. Let us have first start from that ring. So this is that ring of where the mass is distributed on this, and the total mass is m and the radius is r. What we have calculated, this moment of inertia when this is center. So the moment of inertia, this was calculated is ICM, one can say, center of mass for the center. It is equivalent to mr square. We have calculated this. Remember this? We have. So this moment of inertia, this is around this axis which is passing through the origin, and this is mr square. If we want to calculate this moment of inertia, so moment of inertia of a ring along the axis or along the diameter, as I said, along the diameter of ring. So let us see how we will use that perpendicular axis theorem here. We are taking this as a planar structure. So this is perpendicular to that surface, means this is IZ. So here this ICM, that is actually IZ, because this is normal to that. And we can take this, this is just along the diameter. Diameter is like this, along this. Diameter may be like this. Okay, so this is IX and this is IY. And in both cases, since the diameter is identical, so IY is equal to IX. So this Iz, it is equal to mr square previously calculated. Iy, and that is equivalent to Ix, it is equivalent to I, because both are identical. So from perpendicular axis theorem or perpendicular axis theorem, we have this Iz, it is equivalent to Ix plus Iy. Iz is mr square, it is equivalent to I plus I. So this I is equivalent to mr square by 2. Okay. So Iy and Iz and Iy and Ix will be identical because diameter is identical. So one can have this I, which is either towards x-axis or y-axis, it is equivalent to mr square by 2. If this axis is somewhere here now, it is parallel to this. So we will use parallel axis theorem. Because we have two parallel axes, this is that, we have to calculate this moment of inertia toward this, and we know this Iz is equivalent to mr square. So the moment of inertia ring along the let's say A, B, XY, along XY, now axis XY, which is at the edge of ring and parallel to this AB. The axis passes to C through origin. So now we will use perpendicular theorem, parallel axis theorem, by using parallel axis theorem. What we will have, this Ixy, it is equal to ICM, the center of mass or the origin, plus the total mass of this ring multiplied by this distance. Let's say this distance is x, so this is mx square, and x is nothing but the radius of this ring. So this is equivalent to ICM is mr square plus mr square. Then this is equal to mr square to mr square. Okay? Okay? Let us change the position of this axis. Now this is tangential. This is passing tangential to this. So the ring, it is not normal to that. It's tangential to this. Means this is parallel to this y-axis. Or if this is x-axis and that axis is passing through this, that axis means it is tangential to this. So either parallel to x-axis or parallel to this y-axis means tangential to that ring. So the moment of inertia of ring along the axis xy, which is passing tangential, that is parallel to x or y axis. So again we will use that parallel axis theorem. So this Ixy is equivalent to Ix or Iy, not I. This is Ix or Iy. So here we are taking this along y. So this is the Iy plus mx square, where this is x, this is x. So this is mx square. Again, x is equivalent to r, the radius. So what we will have now, this Iy or Ix we have just calculated as mr square by 2. So this is mr square by 2. Okay, so this is equal to now 3 by 2 mr square. Okay, so we can adopt same calculation method for other bodies too. But you have to decide. You have to just look at that particular object. If it is flat, you have to use perpendicular axis theorem. And if that and the position of that axis, this is if parallel to center of mass or parallel to any axis, then you have to use parallel axis theorem, because parallel axis theorem can be used for each and every type of bodies. So let us have one more example, simple example, that last example, and then you should practice some other problems, other bodies, spherical and that disc type bodies also. So I am using here one flat rectangular. So this is one flat rectangular body. Its length is L and its width is. In order to sketch that 3D picture, I am sketching like this. Don't go to that geometrical mathematics. So this is just one rectangular body of length L and width B, and we have to calculate that moment of inertia along this, which is passing through this normal. So this is IZ. So moment of inertia rectangular flat plate of mass and the area L cross B. Okay, so initially we have calculated this moment of inertia for a rod. If we have, this is that rod of length L and one axis which is passing through this, then this moment of inertia, that was equal to ml square by 12. You have. Okay, so if this is L and that if we are taking this as Ix and this is Iy, then for this body, this plate Ix, it is equivalent to m L square by 12. Just we are following this formula. So this is Ix is equivalent to ml square by 12, and that Iy, here this thickness is B, so Iy is equivalent to mb square by 12. And now we will use perpendicular axis theorem. So by using perpendicular axis theorem, this Iz is equal to Ix plus Iy. So this is Iz, that is ml square plus by 12 and mb square by 12. So this is equal to ml square plus b square by 12. So your assignment is just calculate moment of inertia for different bodies. You have a list of you may have a table of moment of inertia of different bodies and different axis positions. For a spherical body, let's say for a spherical body, we have calculated that moment of inertia around that axis passing through the center. We can calculate that moment of inertia where that axis is passing through the tangent of any parallel to that, and the tangent of that particular sphere, and you can get by using that parallel axis theorem. So, and you can also have that disk type materials and cylinder also. We take a cylindrical body also. Okay, so I think this is more than sufficient, and thank you.